So there was huge news in the literary world in 2024. Hong Kong won the Nobel Prize in Literature. And this was a massive deal, a truly historic moment. I mean, she's the first Korean writer and the first Asian woman to ever get this honor. But once the headlines fade, you're left with the real question. Why her? What is it about her work that's so powerful?
Well, the Swedish Academy actually gave us a pretty big clue in their official announcement. They praised her for her intense poetic prose that confronts historical trauma. That phrase right there, historical trauma, that's the key. It's the thread that runs through everything she writes, not just one book, but her entire life's work.
So that leads to the obvious next question, right? What exactly is this historical trauma that they're talking about? To really truly understand why she won this incredible prize, we have to understand the pain she writes about.
And to get to the heart of it, we need to look at her 2021 novel, We Do Not Part. This book, right here, is the key, because it tackles one of the most painful and, frankly, one of the most silenced tragedies in modern Korean history.
On the surface, the plot sounds almost simple. You've got a writer, Kang. She gets an urgent call from her friend who's just been hospitalized, and the request is pretty specific. Go to my house on Jeju Island and save my pet bird before it freezes to death in a massive snowstorm. Sounds like a story of friendship, right? But that's just the beginning.
Because this simple journey into a blizzard quickly becomes something else entirely. It becomes a journey into a buried past. What starts out as an act of kindness for a friend spirals into this deep, harrowing excavation of memory, of pain, and of a history that people tried very, very hard to forget.
So as Kun Young is battling the storm and the freezing cold inside this house, the lines between what's real and what's a nightmare just start to dissolve. This mission to save a single bird turns into a terrifying plunge into the past, a past where the ghosts of history start to feel more real than the snow piling up outside the window.
So what is this historical nightmare? Well, this is the crucial part. The trauma at the very core of this novel isn't made up. It's not fiction. It's a real, brutal, and for decades, a completely silenced event in Korean history. And this trauma is tied to one specific place, Jeju Island. Today, most people know it as this gorgeous vacation destination, a kind of paradise. But in the middle of the 20th century, it was the site of an almost unimaginable tragedy.
It's known as the Jeju 4.3 Uprising, or Sasum in Korean. It started as a local protest against the authorities, but the response was so disproportionately brutal that it spiraled into a years-long state-sponsored campaign of violence that became a full-blown massacre of civilians.
The estimated number of people killed is just staggering. Up to 30,000 people, men, women, and children. To give you some perspective, that was as much as 10% of the island's entire population at the time, just wiped out.
And just look at this map. It shows you the distribution of victims across the entire island. Each shaded spot, each number, that represents a village, a family, a life that was completely shattered. It makes it so clear that this wasn't some small, isolated thing. It was a wave of violence that washed over the entire island, leaving no community untouched.
Now, it's really important to see that We Do Not Part doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's actually the final piece of what you could call an unofficial trilogy, where Hong Kong has been systematically confronting the different faces of violence in Korean history. It really starts with The Vegetarian, which looks at the intimate psychological violence that can happen within a family and from society. Then she zooms out in Human Acts to confront the brutal, state-sanctioned violence of the Gwangju Uprising in 1980. And then finally, with We Do Not Part, she goes even further back, unearthing the long-buried trauma of the Jeju massacre. When you see them all together, they form this incredibly powerful testament against forgetting.
And you have to understand, tackling these topics took immense courage. Her English translator, Paige and Morris, points out that for decades, events like Jeju and Gwangju were censored. You just didn't talk about them. It was dangerous. But Hong Kong didn't just speak. She essentially shouted, pushing back against that pressure to forget with books that got stronger and more unwavering each time.
So all of this brings us back to the novel itself and its title, Why We Do Not Part. It's sometimes translated as I Do Not Bid Farewell. The answer to that question really gets to the very core of why her Nobel Prize matters so much.
The central metaphor in the whole book is snow. That blizzard isn't just a plot device. Think about it. Snow covers everything. It hides the scarred landscape, the ruins of burnt villages, the bodies. In the novel, the snow represents all those decades of official silence, of societal forgetting, that buried the memory of the massacre. But here's the thing about snow. It eventually melts.
And when it does, the truth of what was buried underneath is finally revealed. Han Kang's novel is that melting snow.
So the title, We Do Not Part, it's a declaration. It's a promise to the dead. It is a profound refusal to say goodbye. Because saying goodbye means moving on, and, eventually, forgetting. So the title itself is an act of resistance against oblivion, a deep commitment to simply bear witness to what happened. And you know, in her Nobel lecture, Han Kang connected all of her work back to something she wrote as an 8-year-old kid. This beautiful idea of a golden thread that connects us heart to heart. That's what drives her. Her writing isn't just about trauma. It's an act of love. It's an attempt to reconnect with the forgotten, to feel their pain, and to affirm their humanity across the abyss of time.
And this leaves us with a final, lingering thought. Han Kang's work shows us that history isn't really in the past. It's buried just beneath the surface, waiting. Her novels, they don't just tell a story, they basically hand you a shovel. And the question she leaves for all of us is, do we have the courage to start digging?